So, as you probably know, we've talked about these sorts of things a lot today, but this programme is specifically about sort of more OT needs and physio needs of kids, so who may have strength and stamina difficulties or impaired dexterity, fatigue, of course, but it also may, alongside have some cognitive difficulties as well, which this programme is designed to support alongside. But it is primarily, we're recruiting people primarily on motor difficulties and weakness. And we know it's just very inconsistent, the access, and so this online programme is something that we jumped on with success and collaboration with Mobility, because we thought this could be really useful for young people who struggle to access local services. So Success Charity is funding a bursary programme for 50 children and young people, 19 and under, so go up a little bit higher on that one. And we just feel it's really important that these opportunities are available through development, in the hope that we can help kids gain skills a little bit before they get to adulthood, be really working on that developmental bit. So our idea of recruiting 50 young people, we began that in the autumn of 2025. And the rehab targets are set across the programme, and as you can see, primary aims are the fine and gross motor skills, balance and core and gait movement, and the cognitive stuff is secondary. And you may have gone to a session earlier, I think, that Boda was running, showing this programme, and I think just that gamification can make such a huge difference in terms of access, that a young person is like, oh yeah, I'll do that, it's a bit of fun, which I think makes a huge difference. And I don't know if there's any physios in the room, but I think it's a really tough job because everyone goes, oh, I don't want to see you. And it's like, because they're making people do things that are really quite tough. And I think this really helps with that element. So the intervention, it's a structured 12-week rolling programme. We do an online assessment by a registered therapist who's an OT or physio, is that right?
Either PTs, OTs.
Yeah.
Just with what we do, the system itself covers all disciplines, but we're just doing it around those two.
Yeah, on this, it's an occupational therapist or a physiotherapist, and they develop a treatment plan that's individualised to that young person's needs. And it's online, but there's a camera so that they can see how people are moving and whether their movements could be improved or not. And they run weekly sessions with the therapist and the young person, and then the young people need to practice in between, so they're encouraged to practice every day, but we ask them to do at least 3 sessions on their own a week, playing games on the system. And so it's motion captured so people can also see what they've been doing independently too. And we're looking at outcomes based on young people's goals, so it's completely open, and they can say, my goal is to be able to kick a football, or my goal is to be able to pick up a glass without spilling my drink, or whatever. And so it's very individualised to the young person's needs. And then we were going to do lots of complicated questionnaires and things, and heeding Paul's thoughts on questionnaires, we actually decided to do a semi-structured interview afterwards, just so we could get a full range of the feedback and what people thought of the programme. And what we're trying to work out is, can we deliver this at scale? Charlotte, I'm so impressed with your recruitment. I'm so jealous because I find it incredibly hard to recruit to these sorts of studies. So you guys have done an amazing job there. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to recruit as many families as we can to see if it's scalable. And is it acceptable to families? Do the kids engage? And do we see improvements in terms of goals? And so that's why we've taken this sort of mixed methods approach in terms of getting interview data, but also looking at goal-based outcomes. Oh, and we do also get one of the nice things about it being online and computerised is we get adherence data from that as well. So we know how long people are engaged and how much they're doing. So it's really nice. We can do nice graphs with that, which is quite fun. So far, cohort 1, we've had 8 participants enrolled in that first cohort. 1 became unwell during the course of the programme, and so their data hasn't been included here. And the age range was 6 to 20. After having said it was only 19 and under earlier, I think occasionally people either become 20, because we sneak them in as soon as we can at that 19 range. I think there may be a little bit of flexibility as well. And that first cohort's been all different types of tumour types and time since their illness. And we've got the second cohorts underway. That's 10 participants in that. And I think our maximum is 12 per cohort. So we could still add a couple more to this, I think. And our goal is to get 50 young people through this in the next 12 months. So what outcomes have we had so far? This is very much sort of in progress, so we haven't written this up fully. But based on their goals, so you get given a 10-point scale of where are you now, and your goal is to hopefully get to sort of level 10 kind of thing. And the range of improvements that we've seen have varied on these different areas. So exercise tolerance, some children have gone up by a few points, some have gone up by as much as 7. And not all of them choose all of these domains because it's their goals. So they might not have goals in all of these domains. But you can see we're seeing some nice improvements here. And on a scale of 10, these changes of 4, 5, 6 are really, really quite significant to people's lives. And I think that's the feedback we're getting from these participants. And the feedback so far is it does help overcome some barriers by making it online and giving that accessibility. And having a therapist involved is really key. And I think that really helps with compliance as well. And they feel like they own it, which is nice. It's their programme, it's been individualised to them. And we are seeing those functional improvements. This is some direct feedback that I'm not going to read out to you because you can read it yourselves. And so far, we're hoping that what we're seeing is that it is deliverable, it is acceptable, potentially scalable, and it shows quite a lot of promise.